I don't know. So let me try it. I just want to try it real quick. So probably the best thing to do is maybe go through the guide. All right, so okay, I'm gonna go through the help guide, and then I'm gonna basically explain how they kind of actually worked in the game, if they were really worth it or not, or like if I ever did any of these things. Obviously, you have the basic workshop basics. You know, that's your atelier. You can sleep on the sofa. I've only done it a few times, and honestly, it's just not even worth it. You can create weapons and armors at Cole's shop. You know, the only thing I would say I didn't particularly like about this is that I had to do it always in a specific city. And I wish it was available in all cities. I wish it wasn't where I had to go to, I guess what you could say, essentially the biggest city to do that. Like, I always had to go to Ireland to craft weapons and armor. And I kind of wish it was available in all the cities. Yeah, and of course, that's their wholesale. Again, barely used it. I mean, it's cool if you really need to, but I barely used it. Same goes for the auto restock. Oh no, the auto restock I did use, and that's like in a lot of the previous games. You know, you like use your items, your bombs, stuff like that. You leave, come back, and he'll auto restock. That's fair. That's like the same as like previous games. Synthesis, categories, effects. The crafting is actually pretty cool in the game. The boosting of items, yeah, that's kind of fairly new. I don't think they've done it too much in Atelier games. That's pretty neat. Quality limit release. I'm not sure if that's I think they're just talking about like when you go through the limits. Reference books, yeah, sometimes you can buy them. One time I found it in a chest. There's that. Gathering is also same in basically most Atelier games. I know in the newer ones, they're giving you like different tools to gather different things, right? Like, well, I guess, okay, to be fair, they did that as well too. Here you have like the bugs net, the mining tool. You have like a whole bunch of things to mine. I guess it was a little bit different in terms of, was it different from like newer ones? I guess newer games, I felt like they really put emphasis on making those items better and better and better for you to unlock things, and really like I only made like 2 mining items. I don't know, it's just the same as like some of the newer games that they've been putting out. Yeah, this is what I mean, the exploration tools. Like, so you'll have the bombs. I guess that's what I mean too. Like, sometimes you could use a bomb, or sometimes you could use your mining pickaxe. So I guess that one was the only odd one out. Everything else was like fishing rod, bug net. You didn't need anything for your hands, but oddly enough, you had a tool late game that you could do, and yeah, that just helped you grab more items. So that was it. It wasn't even like you got different items, you just grabbed more of the same thing. Here's something that they introduced, and I've seen it in other Atelier games, but I feel like they didn't really implement this one very well. So you have the whole morning, noon, afternoon, evening, and night. Nighttime, obviously, the stronger bosses appear and stuff like that. That's all fine. I didn't have a problem with that. It was the weather changes. Like, they did things like sunny, cloudy, rainy, thunderstorm, snow, and fog. And apparently, if you're like looking for stuff during certain like weather changes, you'll get different items. But I'm not saying I would have preferred to control the weather like how they did in Sophie 2. However, I felt like, right, like one time I needed a certain item, so I had to go to a certain area, and it had to be, I think, raining. But the chances of it raining were like slim to none. It was almost like I had to just stay on the map and kind of move around and collect things and wait for it to rain. Like, it wasn't like you could just... It's not like a Harvest Moon where like on this certain day it's gonna rain, or it's not like a Final Fantasy 12 where on a certain time of the month, let's just say I don't know, in October, it's the rainy season. It's usually raining 9 times out of 10 during that whole month. It's just kind of random. It feels random to me. It just feels like, oh, it's raining, and if you need a particular item, which so far, I mean, I'm pretty much at the end. There was really only one item I need during a particular weather type. That's the only time like I've ever had to like really like rely on the weather, but it wasn't like, it's not like I could just gone to bed and sleep and change the days. It wasn't like I could just run around the map and hope for a rainy day. It was like, nah, like you have to be in the map, running around picking items until the weather changes. It just seemed kind of It just seemed like they didn't implement the weather changes too much for me to really care. Encounters, yeah, basic things, you know, like we all kind of know this if you played other Atelier games. Battle system is actually kind of cool. I mean, it's basic like any other game, or any other Atelier game, I should say. I think the only thing I've noticed was when you stunned a character, you stun them and then you hit them. Obviously, they woke back up, and then they were still. I guess other Atelier games, if you stun them, their card instantly went to the back. Whereas if you stun them, they're still at whatever position, and if you hit them, they wake back up. That was about the only thing. That was about the only thing I could say about it. But other than that, the battle system's cool. Usable items, like I said, that was like your tools and stuff like that. All your usable items, like your craft bombs and your healing, blah blah blah. Never really looked at that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I never really looked at that one. Yeah, though, this is what I mean, like stun status effect. And then yeah, of course, if you're stunned, you basically can't do nothing. Interrupt was really cool now. This has actually been a really cool feature to this game. Basically, so let me just read to you. Only one type of item can be equipped, and those items can only be equipped on your alchemist. But the stock will not decrease even when it's used. That's like probably, this is probably one of the coolest things that they introduced in the battle system, was the interrupts. And what's neat is once you get, and this might be spoilers for anyone who's like watching this, but once you get all 3 alchemists and you can do all 3 interrupts, it's pretty crazy. You're just basically bouncing between each other and just using a bunch of different items to like kill your enemies. Interrupt has been pretty cool. I think it's pretty OP, but it's been cool to use. I definitely like it. Like it a lot. Prime arts, yeah, like different field effects depending on who you're with. Again, to me, it made more sense just to put all 3 alchemists together, personally. Of course, this one you only get towards the end, but you get the ultimate attacks. It does take a while to like fill that up, but it's not that bad though. Requests, yeah, that's in most Atelier games. We all kind of know if you've played them. Rank up. See, and that's my point too. Every city, you can take quests, or you can take requests and complete them in different areas. But again, back to the point that I made about crafting weapons and armor, you can only do that in one city. So I wish it was more like this. I wish it was more like this, where you could do this. You can take quests on in different cities. So that would have been cool. Yeah, blah blah. Basics. The cipher button. So alchemy riddle, they've kind of done that before in games. It's not that, you know, it's not that new or different. It's pretty cool because you can always advance, and I'll just bring up the alchemy riddle right now. It's pretty cool because every chapter has one. I guess this is the first chapter where like they had like the main, so your main storyline stuff will appear here. And if you unlock them, like you can see with this one with the icon, that unlocks like a new area. These unlocked, I believe, like recipes. See, so you can see the chapter. So your main chapter storyline is going to be on the left. And you can see the chapter rewards when you finish everything. And I do mean like literally complete everything. You only get to see the advanced stuff when you complete the basics. And then you can see, and then you can get more from here. What's cool is you can always be like, you can be on one chapter, you can be on chapter 2, but complete things in like chapter 6 or chapter 3 or whatever. So it was kind of not fluid. At the same time, I guess the only downside is sometimes it was confusing. Like sometimes you'll just be like, Like right now I'm on chapter 10 and I have everything. Like I just started chapter 10, like literally just started it, but I completed everything prior for the next 2 chapters. However, I'm still missing things. I'm still missing one thing for the previous chapter, which was chapter 9. So you're like, you don't have to like complete everything before you move on to the next chapter. You can always go back and complete them anytime that you want to, as well as you can end up also completing things ahead of time. But some things, it's pretty interesting because I had one, if I can find it, I think it was in this one. This one I really only completed, I believe, I completed on the same chapter, but sometimes you can't get to certain things until you unlock it. So it can be pretty weird, and you can be like, did I advance enough in the storyline, or what's the deal, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it can just trip you up a little bit, but it's still pretty cool. I kind of prefer it. I prefer that over maybe like Ryza 3, where it's like this tree and you just unlock it by getting more, I don't know, it's just something boring and kind of lame and slow about it. That one just feels like a little bit more fluid. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to like explain like bits and pieces of this game, and I'll do like I'll do a proper review later. But I appreciate anyone